Look at this.
We have a lot of them.
It's a lot of them. This is our whiteboard. We use this when we're recording videos. And
Brian's beautiful handwriting.
my terrible handwriting. So we're going to read this out loud. I'm not just going to put it up so you can read it. Hi.
Hi.
Hey guys, Brian and Aaron here from 5 to Go. Today we are going to talk to you about our favorite state parks that we have stayed at. We spent all of 2018 driving all the way around the country. We went to 40 states, about 16,000 miles towing this thing. And we stayed at a lot of different types of campgrounds. We stayed at resorts, we stayed at KOAs, we stayed at state parks, we stayed in friends' driveways, we stayed at all sorts of Walmarts, we stayed at all sorts of places. But the real standout for us is state parks. We stayed at some amazing state parks, everywhere from Florida to Nevada to Iowa to Idaho, like just
New York, everywhere. Yes.
So we're going to run through our top 10. And then if you stick around to the end, we have a special bonus because we were actually able to stay in a national park with a 37-foot rig. And we'll tell you about that at the end.
Yes.
And these are in no particular
order.
This is not number one. This is just the
first one we're going to start
popped
with.
into our head. So these are in no particular order. These are all incredible.
Yes.
What's the first one on our list?
Blackwater River State Park in Florida. This is near Pensacola. And it was wonderful. There was a playground right in the center of the little loop that we were on that the kids could just walk to. We could see it from our camper.
Yep.
It was level. It had a fire ring and lots of pine cones around for the kids to help the fire.
And the campground host came and like re-leveled all the gravel every time someone left. There were trails everywhere.
Yep.
Only downside for me is no cell service
Yes.
at all. So if you got to work on the road, probably not a great choice.
But go there on the weekend when you're not having to do work, and it's wonderful because you won't be inside.
Yep.
It's awesome, and you
Yep.
guys know us. We like to be inside.
All right, second one that popped into our heads was Lake Havasu State Park in Arizona, obviously. So Lake Havasu is a very busy place, has very expensive places to stay. Or you can stay at Lake Havasu State Park and be steps from the lake
Yeah.
for like $18 a night or something. It was
It was
crazy cheap.
And huge sites.
Yeah, huge sites. just
Right on the
gorgeous.
water. You see the
It's awesome.
sunrise, you see the sunset. It's wonderful.
Yep, great.
Oh,
If you're going anywhere near that, just go there. Don't look anywhere else.
right.
It's awesome.
Perfect.
Next.
Our next one is Henry's Lake State Park in Idaho.
Yes.
Now, why this one is important and why this is awesome,
Oh, there are little bugs flying around.
sorry. It's like 30 minutes outside of Yellowstone's West Gate. Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Did you hear me? Yellowstone. There's a state park right outside, and it is gorgeous.
It is.
You're up on this little rise. The huge lake is down below you. They're big spots.
There's mountains like
You-
around you.
Oh my gosh. And,
Yeah.
and we could like see the weather like coming down. Oh, so cool.
Yep.
And they just redid all of their bathrooms. So the showers are super clean, awesome water pressure. It's a nice place to stay.
And
And,
the-
30 minutes outside of Yellowstone.
Yeah, that was great. The location was awesome. It was actually kind of funny because you stay in Idaho and you drive through Wyoming to get to Montana to get into the park, something like that. We went through 3 states every day. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, my favorite thing about Henry's Lake was taking Vector out like after dark to do his business before bed. It is so dark. Like you walk outside and you can instantly see the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Like your eyes did not even need a chance to adjust. It was just
So
pitch black.
cool.
It's gorgeous.
So
gorgeous. Next on our brainstorming list here was Elephant Butte Lake State Park in New Mexico. It's amazing, kind of in the middle of like southern New Mexico between Albuquerque and
Las
El
Cruces.
Paso,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of somewhere in the middle there. It was an amazing park. First of all, it's huge. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many RV sites they have, but there are RVs everywhere. There's like 5 or 6 loops, and it was just great. The site we had, we were it was kind of like tiered parking spots up overlooking the lake, so everyone had a lake view because the people behind you were like up over and they could see over you. It was awesome. I got some drone footage there. I'll try and drop some in, and it was just beautiful. Like
was
the
cool.
lake was gorgeous, and it was really our first time getting into New Mexico.
It was like quintessential New Mexico. It was
It really
cool.
was. And there's a little town nearby. I don't remember the name of the town. but it was a really cute little town. Had a great brewery downtown. Had like wall murals all over the place.
Yeah, we were able to
good
walk through the
restaurants.
town, and
Yeah, it was
everybody
cool.
was really friendly.
Very nice
And there
place.
was like lots of food trucks too.
Yeah.
Next on the list is Lake Brantley State Park in New Mexico. We stayed here when we were going to visit Carlsbad Caverns.
Mm-hmm.
It was very close, and it was so cool because this was the one and only place, right, that we saw roadrunners.
Oh, in the campground, yeah.
In like right next to our campground, and they would scurry through, and the kids had so much fun finding them, finding the jackrabbits. Lake Brantley also has these really cool covered picnic pavilions for each site,
Yeah.
and that was awesome.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to go from the desert to the Pacific Northwest with Collier Memorial State Park. And this is in Oregon, and it's right kind of next to Crater Lake.
Close.
And it's a small park. I think there were like 2 or 3 little loops kind of packed in there. And but all of the sites were paved. The people that were working there, I guess they were volunteers or probably paid hosts, they ran activities every weekend and I think throughout the week.
And yeah, on the weekends it was like every
Yeah.
hour there was something
Yeah.
that they were doing with the kids or doing something with the retired people it was a lot of stuff going on.
Yep. Yep, and all the sites were level. It was a little tight. We actually, the first site they gave us, we couldn't fit into, but they just jumped right out and gave us another site. It was awesome. The location, if you're going to Crater Lake, I mean, this was within an hour of Crater Lake.
Yeah.
And it was just absolutely beautiful
It was awesome.
out there.
Next on our list is Pleasant Creek State Park in Iowa.
Kind of random.
Kind of random.
I got family out there.
But this was like the greenest park I have ever been to. The grass was just so lush and beautiful. All
Yeah.
the sites were paved, level. You had huge space. You overlooked the lake that was down, or the creek, I guess, that was down kind
Oh, no,
of
it was a
below
lake.
you.
It was actually, my cousin is the fire chief out there, and he was telling us that this lake, it was actually built. Remember, this was,
Oh, that's
this was
right,
the
that's right.
extra lake, like water supply for the nuclear power plant that was like 20 or 30 miles away.
Ways away.
So don't be worried about that if you're sketchy about nuclear power. But this lake was built, and this park was built around it because no one wants to live there. But this is like they had big water pumps, and if they needed to, they could just like flip a switch and that lake would be drained and rushed out to the nuclear power plant. But it was gorgeous.
Oh, it was so
Kinda
nice.
like really, this is a middle of nowhere one.
Right.
It like near this little town that my cousin and his family live in.
Yeah.
So you're not going there for any parks or or national parks or big tourist areas. But if you're going through Iowa, check
Stay
it
there.
out. It's beautiful.
Oh gosh, it was so nice.
Yeah.
And we were there in September, and it was so beautiful.
Yep.
So excited we found that one.
All right, next up is one that a number of you might have heard of. If you have joined Escapees and they do your mail service, they're out of Livingston, Texas. Like our address is on Rainbow Drive in Livingston, Texas, because all of our mail gets sent there.
Right.
When we went down there to do all of our paperwork and register vehicles and all of that stuff, we stayed at Lake Livingston State Park.
So nice.
That was right outside of that town. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It was huge lake. Just, I mean, you could see like mansions and stuff on the other side of the
So
lake.
cool.
And then our RV on the other side. So it was beautiful. It was nice. Everything was, I wouldn't say everything was level.
No.
Everything was paved. A lot of the sites were really nice. Tons of sites in there. I bet that place fills up in the summer.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and there's fishing, there's boat rentals, there's this cool like observation tower. You can go up and see the entire lake. That's another place where I flew the drone because it was just gorgeous.
Right.
So check that
We
one out.
walked all over there.
Yeah, and biked.
And it was so cool. Such a
Yep.
cool place to stay. Next on our list, back down into Florida at Oleno State Park.
Yes.
This place, we only stayed there for one night.
One night.
We stayed hooked up and everything, but we pulled in there, and there's a playground again right across the street, like the campground street.
We like being close to playgrounds.
We love being close to playgrounds because then we can sit here by the rig
watch them at the playground,
and
yeah.
watch them in the playground, and it's so nice. And there were so many kids there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really cool place. They have this suspension bridge that they made there. The kids really enjoyed it, and they wanted to stay longer after we got there.
If we hadn't already had our schedule like kind of
we would have
written
stayed
out,
longer.
we would have definitely stayed there longer.
Such a neat place.
Yep. All right, now we're going to head up to New York State at Hamlin Beach State Park. It is right on the shores of Lake Ontario, and it's kind of in between Niagara Falls and Rochester. And we went up there so we could go see Niagara Falls and also to visit family in Rochester. This state park was absolutely gorgeous. Lake Ontario, first of all, is huge, like
course.
all of the Great Lakes. So you're there and you kind of feel like you're on a waveless ocean. Like it's just this expanse of blue, beautiful water. But the park itself had several loops, and during the summer, like we were there kind of in the fall, but during the summer I bet they're absolutely full.
Oh, yeah.
There are buildings all over the place, they probably have activities all over the place, and a lot of the locals come out to this park to just spend afternoons in the summer and weekends and all, because it's just beautiful. There's facilities all over the place, there's playgrounds all over the place. There were no sewer hookups, but the dump stations were really nice, and it was just overall just a fantastic state park. So if you're kind of going up around the top edge of New York, definitely stay at this one.
Yes.
All right, so those are our 10 favorite state parks in the country, and now it's time for our bonus. When we got a rig this size, a lot of people were like, you're not going to fit in national parks. And they're right. However, when there are places like Henry's Lake State Park, just outside of Yellowstone, and like most of these big national parks are surrounded by campgrounds and other state parks and all that. So we've had no trouble getting anywhere we wanted to get.
Right.
However, you're not going to get into national parks with a 37, almost 38-foot rig. But we got into one. America's first national monument, Devil's Tower. We were able to get into the Belforce River Campground, which is at the base of Devil's Tower. And from these windows right here, these living room windows, we had Devil's Tower.
Beautiful.
It was amazing. There were no hookups. There was water all over that you could fill up, and there was a dump station on the way out, all the normal stuff. But we were boondocking there. There was no electrics, no nothing. There was a nice little showers and bathroom kind of on the other side of the
Sink,
campground.
you could go and like clean your dishes and
Yeah,
stuff.
like a campground sink. And so there were really bare bones amenities, but we were underneath Devil's Tower. We got to watch the sunset and the sunrise on Devil's Tower. There was a ranger-led program. They were talking about the stars, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
Just
and
amazing.
huge, wide open, like common spaces between
yeah.
where the campgrounds were, and so the kids spent their whole time there. We didn't have to worry about
Yep.
them running out in front of cars or being in someone's yard.
Yeah. And if you wanted to get
so
like
nice.
up to the visitor center, it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You just like go out and drive around it.
It was great.
It was great. So that was the only like national park site that we've been able to stay in so far. I'm sure there's others out there.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, it's a little bit of a challenge with a big rig, but that was amazing. So we thought we'd throw that one in there for you. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know what your favorite state park is that you stayed at, or if you stayed at any of these, let us know what you thought. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.